people in here. They've been inside from the start. They haven't had to survive. And they just don't get it. They can't.
The very thing that makes you different is what makes you special.
Now I'm all warm and fuzzy inside.
To fight for this city. To be the symbol of hope that the Arrow never was. I am the Green Arrow.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the Fandom Zone podcast. I'm Charles Skaggs, and with me, as always, is my partner in crime, Karen Lindsay.
Hello.
Hello, Karen. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Doing good.
I'm
Excellent.
scampering a bit.
Yeah, you're kind of like a scrambling.
I am a little bit.
Thanks to your hubs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, kicking you the
Let's
curb.
pull back the curtain just a hair and say yes.
Yes.
Thank you, DH.
Yep. So, welcome to episode 57 of the Fandom Zone podcast. For the week ending, what's the week ending, Karen? Because I can't remember.
April 23rd.
April 23rd. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm calendar challenged.
It's on the top of our document.
Oh, well.
If you ever want to.
That requires being observant, apparently.
It's all right. It's just right there.
Well, sure. Why not? Let's go with that. All right. So another full plate on today.
That's right.
We've got 8 episodes this week.
Mm-hmm.
As we slowly start to whittle these things down.
That's right.
I'm down to 4 pages of notes from 5. Ooh, so progress.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to cover Fear the Walking Dead, episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
The season 1 finale, hopefully just season 1, not entire series finale of Supergirl.
Right.
Well, hurry up and renew that show, guys.
They're putting out the DVD in
the Blu-ray,
like a month and a half.
Yeah.
And it says season 1 on it.
Oh, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to cover that. Gotham episode 18, Lucifer episode 12, the penultimate season 1 finale.
That's right.
The Flash episode 18, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D 17, Legends of Tomorrow episode 12, the penultimate of that show as well.
That's right.
And Daredevil episode 7 of the 2nd season. So
correct.
Quite a lot to talk about this week.
That's right. So we're going to lose Supergirl after this week.
We're going to lose Supergirl, and then next week we will lose, the week after that we will lose
several.
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow.
And Lucifer.
So
yeah, so we're getting down.
And we won't have a Gotham.
No.
Because Gotham is taking a week off.
But that's a good thing because Preacher's coming up.
That's right. Which is awesome.
So we're going to actually have an actual summer season.
That's right.
This year, instead of hitting the oldie TV shows from 2002 or what have you.
That's right.
All right, so let's get right into it. Fear the Walking Dead, episode 2 of the 2nd season, We All Fall Down.
Yes, and I'm giving my co-host big props for helping me come up with the story titles. But who was behind this episode?
This was the teleplay was by Kate Barnow and directed by Adam Davidson, who directed the first episode last week.
Okay.
So
excellent. Ooh, sorry about that.
Easy there. Did somebody break a guitar string?
No, it was the scissor arm of my microphone. Again, another task for the DH. He has to come and tighten that up. So you came up with a couple of these, and you also came up with a third one, but it led into my...
Yeah, I think yours is better than mine. So
Okay, but you pointed at it, and okay, so
I
you
got
came
I,
up with.
I got you in the direction.
Yes, you did. You pointed me in the direction. The A story, no more San Diego Comic-Con. Which, yeah, I agree. Seriously?
And there was much rejoicing. Right. No.
No, I would be heartbroken actually.
Well, I know
B
it's been a
story
few years since I've been able to go because the tickets
in
keep
here.
selling out.
Right.
So
2006 was last year I went.
yep. So, but hey, if anybody out there in San Diego Comic-Con would be willing to invite the Phantom Zone podcast to the convention,
We could get free tickets. It's
we
just we have to get in under the wire.
yeah, we would definitely appreciate it.
There you go. B story, Strand's secret stash.
Yes.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you know what that's referring to.
Yeah. And then C story, you'll shoot her eye out.
Yep. You'll shoot her eye out. You'll shoot her eye out. So that's a little Christmas story reset for those who
That's right.
didn't
I
catch
love
that.
that movie. I
Yep.
love that movie.
It's
I did an episode of Triple Cast.
right.
We did Christmas movies, and there were 3 different hosts that guested with Corey on that, and I chose Christmas Story, and we talked about A Christmas Story, and that was so fun. He hadn't seen it, so
Every time I think I'm sick of that movie, I'm not going to watch it again. It comes on and I'm watching it.
right, and it
I can't
doesn't
help
matter.
it. It doesn't matter. So
No, it's still good.
it still holds up.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a major prize.
Well played.
Thank you.
Fa ra 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 ra. Oh, sorry. I know it's a little racist.
It's so good, that movie.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So A story, no more San Diego Comic-Con, which is referring to our castaways.
A
3-hour
tour.
A 3-hour tour. Yes. So they decided to dock at a nearby island in order to hide out from the unknown ship of doom that's
Mhm.
out there, thanks to Alicia.
I know.
Enough said on that one.
I know.
I'm so exhausted with her.
Me too.
But
I can't even.
so basically, they're looking for a place to hide out.
Right.
Daniel and Ophelia stay behind on the boat to keep an eye on Strand, while Travis and the others investigate this house that's on the shoreline.
With the lights flashing
Right,
on.
right. Flight lights are flashing on and off mysteriously.
Mm-hmm.
So that turns out to be inhabited by a man named George and his family.
Right.
And George is, I guess, he's like the park ranger or something.
Yeah, he was I guess he was what was he, one of those guys that sat in the tower, in the fire tower or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
Yeah. And since there aren't any anymore,
Mhm.
he's now at home and he's kind of a survivalist.
Yes. But apparently he's also a bit of a geek about the zombie apocalypse, because he's been doing research and informs Travis and the others that every major city on the West Coast, including San Diego, so I guess tickets are finally available at last, has been burned down by the military.
Right. And I'm assuming
Or
that
maybe they
means
just really hate the San Diego Chargers.
could be,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm assuming that means bombed. Did
Yeah,
they bomb the
yeah, I
city?
think they napalmed and all kinds of
Yeah.
wacky stuff.
To try and stop the spread of the disease. Is
Right,
that
exactly.
what-
It was a
yeah.
scorched earth policy kind of thing,
Right.
so to keep the infections from spreading, but
Right.
which great work
Didn't
there, because
work,
yeah,
yeah.
it didn't work. So the situation's no better inland.
Right.
And George believes that the undead outbreak is nature's way of culling humanity,
Right.
which Travis is not cool with.
No. No, I don't think any of them are super cool with him, with the father. And it leads to some offshoots of things happening there.
Right.
So it leads to Madison having heart-to-heart chats with mom.
Yeah.
And I started getting a weird vibe there when the mom started asking her about, how she liked kids and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you asking whether she likes to eat babies? Or, I mean, what is your deal here?
Yeah, there's something's a little hinky with this family.
Right.
And Madison kind of picks up on that.
Yeah.
To her credit,
Right.
her
And then
Madison sense is tingling.
right. And then Nick starts hanging out with the kids
Right.
and gets the information that they're taking some sort of energy pills or
No, power
what
pills.
did they call power pills,
Power pills.
right?
Now, if there's one thing Nick knows, it's
It's
medications.
pills,
Yeah,
right?
so,
And so,
or
woo,
as he
woo,
even says, is like, hey, if there's one thing I know, it's pharmaceuticals.
right.
So that's his field.
So,
He has one skill set, and it's drugs.
right. And I thought for sure he was going raiding
Yeah.
to see what they had.
That's what I thought he was doing too. Maybe he was,
I don't think he was.
well, I don't
I
know.
think he cared what was happening to those kids.
I would hope not, because it was bad enough that he was taking morphine from a dying elderly person in
Right.
season 1.
Well, he
But
could have taken other stuff that was there, but he
I
blew
thought
right
all he found was like stool softener and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm sure there was something. And
Yeah,
he was looking for something in particular.
right. But
And
why would he be looking for it at all if he
I
wasn't looking
I
for
think he cared what was happening to them.
it? Yeah, I'm not so sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm just a little. It's Nick doesn't exactly have the best track record in this regard.
Okay. So you do think he was looking
I,
to
I
scrounge the pills.
I'm suspicious.
Okay.
So because you don't just get over an addiction like that.
No, that's true. You don't.
So I
He
think
looks pretty good though.
yeah, but that could change.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So he went and he
But
found the pills and they're
but at least he's good at babysitting. Apparently, I
yeah.
think that's his other skill set is babysitting.
He was really good with those kids.
So being a junkie and being a good babysitter, that's his range apparently.
That's right. Identifying
Yes.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's better than one of those dogs at the airport that sniff out.
He is. And he found them and they were quite sinister. Dad
Yes.
is doing something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it turns out that Dad's planning on a suicide pact.
Slowly.
Right. And George's wife basically kind of warns Madison about this.
Mhm.
She begs her to take the children with them when they leave the island. Madison relays the request to Travis, who's like, I don't know.
Right.
Well, do we really want more kids on this boat?
Right. And little ones at that.
Exactly.
Like ones that they'd really have to take care of.
And watch to make sure they just go run off and get chewed on by zombies.
Right.
So yeah.
And I was talking to you before we started and you said save it for the podcast, but
Yeah.
this episode kind of hit me because, and I don't know how many, I don't keep this a secret, but I don't know how many of the listeners to this podcast know, but I have MS as well. And
Right.
it's not a death sentence, like an immediate death sentence, but in an apocalypse situation where you don't have access to your maintenance meds,
Right.
it is a death sentence. You're going to go downhill.
Right.
So I can see where she's coming from, where she would want someone to take care of her kids, where she doesn't know what's going to happen to her. Things would happen to me and I wouldn't like it. And I would definitely want someone to take any responsibility that I have off my shoulders.
Right.
So I had so much sympathy for her in that moment, that character. But I was thinking to myself, man, I would go and raid all the stores and I would get my meds.
I need to stock up.
Yeah, I would. I would stockpile my meds. But as we've seen in the main show, The Walking Dead, that's more dangerous than it seems.
Well, yeah, because for one thing, there's the danger of getting the drugs.
Right.
And then there's the danger of keeping the drugs once people find out that you have them.
And the danger of running into trouble
Right.
there and back and everything else in between. So it's not quite as easy as it sounds. I mean, you can say in the comfort of now, without some weird apocalypse happening, that you would go and raid and get your maintenance drugs and all that and stockpile, but
Right.
it's not feasible in their world.
Yeah.
So yeah. And
It's a
I'm thinking to myself in the shower today, I wonder if my doctor would let me stockpile my drugs.
there could be a zombie apocalypse, so
Well,
maybe I should have a supply on hand.
it's not like they're drugs that are addictive or anything. They're maintenance drugs for a disease.
Right.
I couldn't sell them on the open market for any use that is nefarious. So, I'm like, I wonder if I could go see a second doctor. But that would
Maybe
be
it's not good to discuss this on a podcast,
no, I would never do it. It doesn't make any sense to
but
do it.
it is a little unsettling when you realize that you might not last very long in the zombie apocalypse.
Right. I wouldn't at
So,
all.
yeah.
I think I would be one of those people that would choose to end
Right.
myself early. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's terrible to think about, but I wouldn't want to see what happened.
See, I think I'm one of those people that would get through a few seasons of The Walking Dead, but wouldn't make it to like season 7.
Eh, by your own hand or by
No, no, no. I'm just
you
saying.
just wouldn't make it?
Yeah, I think something would happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, see, I think I would
My luck
uh,
is
I would
basically
make sure I didn't
yeah.
make it to season 7. So yeah, it's just a harsh reality. And this one actually, there was something that I could relate to, and there's usually nothing I can relate to in any Walking Dead show.
Right.
So yeah, it was sad for me, but yeah.
Well,
And of course it ended up going awry.
well, it is The Walking Dead after all. Well, in this case,
Mhm.
Fear the Walking Dead. So yeah, Nick warns, like you said, mentioned, warns Travis and Madison that he suspects that George is planning to poison his entire family. Travis and Madison try to take George's 2 younger children, but unfortunately, Willa, the youngest daughter, decides, oh, I saw Nick getting into that globe,
Oh, I could take more power pills.
so I would like some power pills too.
Yeah.
And so she takes him, ends up killing herself, sadly,
And
and turns into a zombie.
milky eyes. Yeah.
But how awesome is that we got another little girl zombie?
I know, right? It
Because
is. It's
and
very
I don't think
cool.
we've really gotten one, at least since
Not for a while.
not since
Carol's kid?
Carol's kid, yeah,
Yeah.
Sophia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, and Sophia was much more zombified
Yes.
than
Well, I
this.
mean, she just turned, so she's not
Right.
going to be, yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know. But it was cool to see
But how great
her.
was it when she like, because you knew what was going to happen,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
and then she turns on her mother, it starts, oh, right in the neck.
And I think it was a conscious decision on the mom's part.
Oh, you think the mom did suicide
I think so.
by daughter? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
As
dark.
long as she knew Madison was willing to take on her other kid and she was standing right there with Travis, she thought maybe I'll just stay here. And then, Dad stayed there too. So we know what happened to him.
Right.
Although he was not in the death roll on Talking Dead.
Oh,
Like,
you think he could still be out there?
no, he's not, but
You're right. That's a good observation.
he
He
wasn't
wasn't
there.
the in memoriam, was he?
No, he wasn't. But I'm
Uh,
sure he's dead. I
yeah.
mean, there's no.
So so let's go to the B story.
Sure.
Uh,
Strand's secret stash.
Strand Secret
Okay.
Stash.
I have a theory on this before we get into it.
Yeah.
He recommended they go to one island,
Right.
and then they said, let's go to this other one that has the ranger station and all that.
hmm
He has something going on that other island. And I think that's who he was talking to.
I think you're right.
Okay, good.
I agree with your theory.
Excellent.
But yeah, so this episode we find out Daniel's finally kind of had enough with Strand being mysterious guy.
Yeah.
So he gets
Daniel's had enough, period.
yeah. So Daniel gets the first opportunity he gets. He breaks into his little footlocker or whatever he has there.
Right.
Pulls out a submachine gun
Yep.
and a map leading to Mexico.
Right.
So,
And also there's that little seed of doubt that I think we talked about. Is it his boat?
right. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I think he just got a hold of,
And Daniel asked him
somehow he
about
learned
it.
about it.
Right. Right. And again, I don't care.
Right.
Who cares? It's the apocalypse. Why is Daniel even questioning? Who cares? You're
Yep.
on a boat.
Yep. You're not getting chewed up by zombies.
Right.
Right.
Why would you care whether it's his boat or not?
It's
But I guess I understand, because it would mean that you're with someone who's not on the up and up.
well, there is that, and Daniel definitely has trust issues, as we've
Right.
seen.
Right.
So some of them
So
justified.
I can see it from that point of view, but otherwise.
But he's
who
also
cares?
protecting his daughter, remember?
Right.
So if he doesn't trust this guy, and this guy's going to lead him somewhere that might bring harm to her,
Right.
to Ophelia,
Right.
then yeah, he's making it his business to know about it.
I look at it as Strand is going to save himself.
Yeah.
He's taken them for a reason. If they stick by him,
Hmm.
wouldn't it seem like they would probably be okay?
Maybe.
Because, I mean, what good would it do for him to kill them?
It's a good question.
So I would just kind of go along until something seemed like super hinky.
Well, it's getting his,
His radar is
yeah,
tingly.
the Salazar sense is up.
Right.
So
And he's right to do that. I would be quite on my toes at this point
yeah, well,
to try and figure out what's happening. But again, they didn't have the benefit of seeing that phone call like we did.
Right.
And I would also wonder about why he recommended that other island.
Yeah, because we have to keep in mind that, yeah, like you said, we know more than the characters do at this point.
Right. So there's that. But Daniel did hone in on the part where it might not be his boat. So
Yep.
I think he's sharper. He's definitely figuring out that something is very hinky with Strand.
That's going to definitely put a new spin on if that "it's my boat" argument comes up again.
Right. Is it though?
Is it your boat? Really? You got a proof of ownership for that, pal?
And I don't know who it was. Was it? I don't know who it was on Talking Dead, but see now. Oh, why was he in lockup? Someone said it on the Talking Dead.
Yeah, because he had.
Was it Lou Diamond Phillips that said that on Talking?
Maybe, probably.
Why was
Lou Diamond Phillips was all over the place on that.
Yeah, he was.
He's a little out there.
He's a huge fan, though.
Yeah, I understand that, and I appreciate that, but he's not all there. I think just a feeling.
He's an actor.
I understand that.
That explains a lot of it.
Yeah, it
to
does.
be honest.
It does. You're right. All right, so let's move on to the C story.
You'll shoot her eye out.
You'll shoot her eye out.
The other son.
Yes. Yes, Seth.
Yeah, they had an older son, and he wasn't a huge part of the episode until the end. And to be honest, I didn't even remember him.
I think that was the point.
Yeah, I
think
so
you see
too.
at the beginning to establish that he's there.
And he had that little scene with Chris where
Right.
Chris was taking out some aggression.
Right, on
the chain link fence and the zombies. Yeah.
Right. So they established him there just to kind of remind you, yes, he's there, but then you forget about him. And then all of a sudden he comes up with his gun, his rifle.
No, this is my brother.
Yep.
Give me back.
Yep.
And he takes the brother back, and mom is shambling out.
Yep.
To meet them on the dock.
Because now she's turned.
Right.
So, which is going to make Mother's Day really awkward.
Yeah, really awkward.
So,
no, there's no Mother's Day anymore.
Right.
And he tells his brother to look back at the boat and wave goodbye, and they're all waving goodbye, and you see his tiny little hand, and then you hear the gunshot, and it's
Just look at the boat,
heartbreaking.
Harry. Look at the boat.
Oh, it was sad.
Yep, it's the look at the flowers all over again.
Yeah, yeah.
But Seth, I don't know why you'd think he'd want to protect his brother, but I don't. I think Seth just kind of checked out at that point.
Yeah, I think so too. And he wanted to be with his brother. He didn't want to go with them
Yep.
on the boat. He wanted to stay home.
Yep.
And I think that's a death sentence for them, but they couldn't afford it at that point.
And then there was this great response to this by Daniel, because Ophelia asked Daniel if he can do something about this.
Mm-hmm.
And as Melissa, the mom, is getting ready to nom on her kids,
Right.
he replies, "Kid's got a rifle.
Right. Yeah.
Kid has a rifle." So Seth
Well, I
takes
mean,
aim
what
with
else
his
could he
rifle,
do?
guns his mother down as the Abigail sets off.
Right.
So the question is now, okay, since you mentioned George not being in the in memoriam, is it maybe just George, Seth, and Harry on
Oh,
that
George is
island?
gone.
Do you think George is gone?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it just Seth and Harry then?
Yeah, I think so.
So do you think we'll see Seth again?
Probably not. I think that was just a little thing to show how cutthroat things get
Right.
and how heartbreaking things can be. And how you can impact people and
Exactly.
change things. I mean, they showed up there and they ended up causing all this mayhem to happen.
Yep.
Otherwise, it just would have been
A
a
suicide pact.
peaceful,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, so thanks guys for
right,
for showing up and making everything go to hell.
right.
So, where will our Abigail crew sail off to next time on the Dead Boats? Soon we'll be making another
Exactly.
disaster for someone else.
Right. And I think that was the lesson for them is they have to learn that when they insert themselves in a situation, they could cause all kinds of problems.
Which,
That
with great boat comes great responsibility.
this is Image, not Marvel.
I'm mixing. I'm taking creative license. Okay, so what was your rating for this episode, Karen?
I gave it 7.5 chain link fences.
Right.
It was okay.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
a good episode.
Yeah, but the show's been on now for a little micro season and 2
And
episodes.
some.
We
Yeah.
should start getting some really meaty stuff.
I'm hoping next episode is going to turn out to be better because I think they're headed towards that other island.
I hope so, and they better get to it quick because it's starting to drag.
Right.
I give this one 8 out of 10 pickaxes.
Yeah.
So.
And I really want to see. I need to see more of where Chris and I'm tired of the mopey kids.
Right.
We need to get over the mopey kids. I don't want to see angst.
Right.
It's enough of the angst.
Now Chris is kind of getting into his. Now with this episode, he's like, "Oh, I could just kill these guys, and I'm taking out my aggression
Right.
by killing the zombies."
But he's still moping all around, which is annoying.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, a lot of the time he was just hanging out on the back of the boat and ignoring everyone, which was just
jerky.
It's like, wake up, dude.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Supergirl.
Better Angels.
Better Angels, written by Robert Rovner and Jessica Keller.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it Queller? I'm not sure.
I think it's Keller. I don't know.
All right, let's go with Keller. Director Larry Ting.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her A, B, and C, Karen?
I gave it, hey, I didn't download this wallpaper. Is A.
I'm kind of curious about that one.
That's everyone had the super logo.
Oh, right.
All their devices.
On their computer, yes.
Yeah, and their phones and everything. B story is decapitation is not the best way to cure a headache.
Nope.
C story DEO team up, which is how it ended up.
Yep.
And then I had 2 bonuses. Bonus 1, now kiss, like the meme.
Yep.
Okay. And then bonus 2, who was the guy in Working Girl?
Yeah, that was clever.
Yeah, I
I
thought
get
so
I
too.
got the reference.
Yeah. Not everyone would though, because that's
Well,
that's from 1988.
well, they're not old like we are.
I know,
Unless they could have looked up Working Girl on IMDb or something.
if they thought it was a reference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Let's get that one out of the way.
Okay, we might
The
as well.
male lead in Working Girl was Harrison Ford,
Who is
so who is married to Callista Flockhart.
right?
So it was
Who
a
plays
sly
Cat? So yeah, it's all meta there.
right.
Okay.
And I loved it. I laughed out loud as soon as she said it.
Okay, so downloading the wallpaper, meaning the
The message of hope.
yes. Yes.
Okay, all I have to say is
with the Supergirl logo, all nice and
right on everyone's
formatted
devices.
properly. Yep.
Yes, exactly. Well, she had that Libsyn thing where it knew how to format it for all devices.
Nice. Well played.
Anyway, all I have to say is at least it fit the science from last week's episode.
Right.
They made sure to keep it in continuity with what they were doing in the series.
I still want to know why Kara didn't just destroy the satellites.
Right. There was a force field.
But she didn't even try.
I know.
Again. She's willing to take forward Roz up into space and check out potentially.
I know.
But she's not going to try to take out the satellites.
I know.
Okay.
Again, the reason this didn't get higher for me on my grading scale.
And me as well, but I did like it though. I liked it.
Oh, I did too. With the addition of Handwave, the superhero.
Yeah. Got it.
I gave it a fairly decent grade. I loved the episode. It was just a lot of plot points that I had to roll my eyes at.
Yep.
And one of them was the beacon of hope.
Beacon. Oh, right.
I get what they're doing. They're trying to make it into a Superman show, which is,
hope, about hope.
Hope wins.
Right. And Supergirl, yeah, I mean, and Superman, really. That S in their chest, meaning, standing for hope.
Right.
But, yeah, you don't have to beat us over the head with it either.
Well.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so let's get...
that's...
Yeah, let's get into this a little bit.
Sure.
So picking up from last week, we have Kara duking it out with Alex in her, super suit.
Quickly.
Yes.
They just quickly do that, and then they're out.
It is a quick throwdown.
Mm-hmm.
Alex is about to kill Kara with the same sword that used to kill Astra. But then their mom, Eliza, shows up, pleads with her to stop, which, of course, breaks Nun's control over her.
Right.
And
Beacon of hope.
So now she's back on Team Kara.
Right. That's right.
So,
and I love that we had all three Supergirls in this episode.
It was, yep. But they still haven't really gotten together, have they?
It's not going to happen.
It should.
No, it won't, though, because Indigo was ripped in half by Jean.
You can rebuild her. You have the technology.
You can make her bigger, stronger, faster.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can bluer. Or...
Bluer? I hardly knew her.
Oh, ba-dum-dum. Shh. Nice. Right. All right. Let's just see if I can recover from that one. So the team just figures out, okay, hope is the way we could stop Myriad.
Mm-hmm.
And they have...
And they do.
They do. Supergirl...
You could just say that if you want.
Yeah, they do. All right, move on. All right, so Nun ends up convinced by Indigo to kill all the humans on Earth by increasing the amplitude of Myriad.
Turning it up to 11.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Spinal Tap.
And everyone gets a headache.
Yep.
Yes, Spinal Tap.
I'll turn it up to 11.
Why don't you just turn it up to 10?
10.
But 11...
And make 11 10.
Right. But 11 is higher.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, Max reveals that he's located the Kryptonians by way of the Omegahedron.
Right.
from,
That little.
from the Supergirl movie.
Right.
They found this spot in Nevada.
Except for what's his name? Lane already knew where it was, right?
Exactly. He says, "Oh yeah, by the way, that's a Fort Ross."
Right. Duh.
I didn't tell you that. Don't be me.
Why didn't they do something about it already?
You would think.
Yeah.
You would
Again.
think. Again, hand wave.
Plot hole.
Yep. You could drive a truck.
Superhero plot hole.
You can drive Fort Ross through that plot hole.
I love how you said that. You were just so fatalistic. And by the way, he was looking down at his notes when he said it.
Yeah.
So it was just like a throwaway. You drive Fort Ross through that plot hole. That's awesome.
I'm glad you like that.
It was very good.
All right, so Supergirl heads out to take on the mission. John says, "Oh, by the way, I'm going too."
Right.
And whether General Lane likes it or not.
That's right. And this was.
So you can suck it. You can suck it.
And you can suck it.
Yes.
This was one of the best parts of the episode, I thought. This was a really good fight where Jean takes on Indigo.
Yes.
And Kara takes on Non.
Right.
And the fight's really good, I thought.
I did. I liked that as well. And I liked that Jean, because remember, he got tortured by her.
Right.
In the previous
and
episode.
He gets to take out all his aggression.
Yeah, he's got a little aggression to pent up.
Yeah.
And Martian Manhunter.
Jean smash.
Rip.
That's right. Yep.
So rips her apart in two, like a wishbone.
That's right. And of course, Kara has felt tortured by Non and betrayed and all sorts of things. And she takes that out on him and burns his eyes out.
Yeah. So
ouchie.
Yeah, they had a cool little heat vision battle. Now, I did wonder during this heat vision battle, last time she tried this stunt, didn't she lose her powers?
Because she with Red Tornado or whatever.
Yeah. So how come she didn't lose her powers this time? I
don't know.
You think there would be a little consistency?
Maybe she was super angry.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
You could drive Fort Ross through that plot hole.
That's going to end up on a Phil Parrish meme. I feel it.
Awesome.
I feel it. I'm hoping. We'll see. Don't let us down, Phil. All right. So Kara ends up flying Fort Ross into space.
Yep.
Rendering Myriad harmless. Everybody's free from the blood control. I mean, the Myriad.
Right.
She gets kind of stranded in space.
Which is.
And because,
puzzling.
They kind of warned her about this, like that you're not going to be able to breathe in space or actually move.
Right.
Which is kind of a dig at the comics. Because
right.
the comics always have like Superman being able to propel himself all around space by himself.
Right.
Even though there's no gravity, there's a vacuum.
Or air.
Well, actually, there is gravity from other planetary objects.
Yeah.
But his propulsion.
It's not a lot.
Now, he could do inertia to keep him propelled forward.
But you'd have to
have the initial
push
thrust.
off of something, right?
Exactly. So, sorry, physics geek.
And breathing would be difficult as well. Yeah.
Yes. Now, if you had a little mask or something, I don't know why they didn't just give her an oxygen mask.
Right.
Right. But Supergirl writers.
Hey, we have oxygen masks, but going out there and
you go. Yeah.
Sacrifice yourself. Whatever.
All right.
Right. And then once
as a writer, this show frustrates me so
I know.
much.
Well, see, she could have taken the mask and gone up there, and then once she had Fort Ross out there, she could have pushed her feet off of Fort Ross to come back to Earth, right?
Exactly. Right. Yes. Exactly.
Could I write this or what?
Yep.
I'm just saying.
I think anybody could at this point. I really do.
But she manages to do it.
Okay.
And then what happens is Alex comes to save her. But they couldn't have done that heart-wrenching moment.
Right.
Of the goodbye and then the welcome back and here's your necklace thing, which I thought was very touching. And it really showed off their acting skills.
Right.
So I liked it. I mean, I was chopping some onions. during
Oh.
those scenes.
Now, did we miss the decapitation?
That was just they had their
Yeah.
headaches.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay. I was just like,
Their heads would have blowed up.
I was
real
trying to
good.
figure out where there was a decapitation.
No, there wasn't.
Okay,
Their heads would have blowed up, and that would have cured their headache. Is
blowed
all.
up real good. Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
it's
DEO
not the
team
best
up.
way. Right.
Yep.
General Lane decides that
Yeah.
John's okay. He's an okay dude.
Right. So yeah, General Lane presents news to John that the president, instead of trying to incarcerate him, is now agreed to pardon him.
I think mostly because they can't incarcerate him.
Yeah, because he could
And
just walk through walls and yeah.
And he didn't harm them while he was there. He actually ran the DEO with honor and all that. So why not keep him?
So they put him back. Well, it's just the idea. Well, we don't trust aliens, but we're going to have an alien in charge of our organization that doesn't trust aliens. So,
right.
But they give him back control. He gives this nice little speech, says, well, I'm going to work together with Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
So
DEO team up.
So Alex, I guess, gets demoted.
Well,
Wasn't she like his number 2?
Yeah, she was an interim.
Yeah, but so now she's number 3.
She's going to be number 2 to both of them.
Okay, so they're like sharing.
Yeah, they're
co-leaders.
Co-leaders.
Okay.
I think she'll be all right with that. She doesn't want to be the head of the DEO.
More than one supervisor.
Sure.
Got it. So that's going to be interesting performance review. All right.
It is actually.
Yep.
Hey, your sister's dating my ex.
Yeah, pretty much. So after everything's all said and done, it's a season finale. We have to wrap things up. So, Kat, back at Catco, Kat brings Kara to this private office.
Right. After packing everything in a box and acting like she's going to fire her.
Right.
Which was rude, I thought.
Well, it's Kat. So,
I know.
So then she tells Kara that she's the best assistant she's ever had, which is why she has to give her up.
Right.
And Kara asks, like, what's this new job? Kat says Kara should just present a plan to Kat about what kind of job she wants. So it's like, make your own job.
Yep, which is awesome.
Right. I actually did that once in my career.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So as she leaves, she actually pronounces Kara's name correctly for the first time.
Yep.
Translation: you've earned my respect, so now I will call you by your real name.
And I know you're Supergirl.
But I'm not going to say that.
Which is right.
Right. It's like, maybe it's not the best thing for me to have Supergirl fetching my coffee.
Right. And also there was a little thing at Kara's place where they all got together. Jimmy gives her a picture and he says, it's my favorite picture of Supergirl and it's a picture of Kara.
Right.
And she doesn't like it because she's squinting, which is rude to accept a gift. Anyway.
Yeah.
And then he kisses her.
Yep.
Kissing.
There's all the kissy.
Yep. And then there's a lot of talking about family and
blah, blah, blah. But suddenly...
That's right.
Meanwhile... There's another pod that, similar to the one Kara came to Earth in, crashes near a national city.
Mm-hmm.
Kara opens up the pod to be shocked by what's inside. We don't get to see, of course, what's inside because they want to tease for season 2. Even though they still have not confirmed season 2.
Right. There's going to be a season 2. It's so stupid, though. They kind of have.
We'll see. I hope so.
They have.
But what's the big wait in telling us?
I don't know. Because they haven't.
Because they're jerks, apparently.
I know. They are.
All right, so
who do you think's in the pod?
I'm hoping for Crypto.
Oh, that would be cool.
But it could be Streaky the Super Cat because they've talked about Streaky the Super Cat.
Do you think?
It could be.
It's an animal in there?
Yeah, could be.
Okay. I thought it might be Superboy.
Now, some people are suggesting Superboy, which would lead to the Cadmus stuff, probably.
Right.
So, but it'd be cool if it was Crypto. I think
it would be awesome if it was Crypto.
I'm hoping so. Fingers crossed for Crypto.
Okay.
But
I'm good with either Crypto or Streaky.
But something else could happen. It could be.
Okay.
So yeah, but it could be Superboy.
Okay. I give it 8 banker's boxes.
Right. Okay, and I give this one 8.5 out of 10 squeezed champagne bottles because
Nice.
they asked Kara to do the trick,
Yeah,
which
where she opened.
Christopher Reeve did in Superman 2,
Oh, very nice.
if you
Oh,
recall,
right.
during the
At Niagara Falls.
at Niagara Falls. Slowly I turned, but that's a Stooges reference.
Slowly I
turned, step
turn,
by
step
step,
by step.
inch by inch.
Inch.
Yeah. All right, so let's go on to Gotham.
218 Pinewood.
Pinewood, written by Robert Hull and Megan Mostyn Brown, directed by John Stevens. And what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Pinewood Farms, remember us.
Nice.
It's the first one. B story is single furred female. She had a fur on.
Right, great.
Part of it. And then the C story is Johnny Demonic.
Instead of Johnny Mnemonic. I got
Right.
it. I got it.
Although his name's not John, but you know.
It works. It works. So.
Okay.
All right. So A story.
Pinewood Farms, remember us.
Yeah. So
I hope people get that.
they should.
Okay, good.
Pepperidge Farms.
Right. Correct.
Yeah, I got it.
I know you got it. We're old. Does that commercial even air anymore?
I don't know. See, kind of like the Orville Redenbacher popcorn commercials.
I know. Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Yeah. Probably the guy died, and so they're like,
Probably.
we'll just let it go.
Yeah.
All right. So Bruce is down in his Bruce cave. It's not his Bat cave yet, so it's the Bruce cave.
Right.
And
I call it the Bat Office.
The Bat Office. Nice.
Right. Because it's got a desk and a computer.
That's true. That's a good one too. I like that one. So Bruce is So basically, now that they've got the computer up and running, Bruce's father's computer, after Alfred trashed it,
right?
Jerk. So they're working to decrypt these files, and they find that his father was supposed to have this meeting with a Karen Jennings. Karen. Yep. About Pinewood Farms the week that he died.
That's right.
And Lucius Fox is like, well, it's probably a cover name for some other secret program like Indian Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, means it's up to no good.
Of course.
Because why would you have a secret name for something?
If it was a good thing.
If it was a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not true. There's so many things that are good with secret names.
Yeah, but given the track record of Wayne Enterprises,
Gotham, yeah.
Gotham, I think it's reasonable to be
that's true.
Suspicious, at least. So they start digging into this, and Bruce and Alfred end up going out into the woods they track down Karen Jennings. In this cabin.
How do they do that?
That's a good question.
Hugo Strange couldn't even do it.
Exactly. It's a good question. So she's got this cabin in the woods, not the movie.
No.
And Alfred gets immediately attacked as they get there by something that scratches his hand.
Mm-hmm.
His arm, this big claw lashes out.
Talon.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So Karen, turns out they find out that it's Karen, and turns out, oh, guess what? She's got this raptor claw.
A scaly raptor claw.
Yeah. So of course, well, gee, who was in a Jurassic Park movie that we know of that might have access to dino DNA?
B.D. Wong.
That's right. That should have tipped you off right there.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I'm sure that was planned.
Do you think?
I think so. I would.
And she's not the same claw that...
Because why would you just give her a dinosaur hand?
That's true. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
She's not the same scaly hand that's in Indian Hill.
No.
And I still maintain that that's Killer Croc.
I believe so too.
I couldn't find any parallel to Karen.
No, I don't. I think she's just a brand new character.
Okay, because she doesn't live past this episode.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. You spoiled that they killed off this one-off character.
Right.
All right, so anyway, it turns out Karen's this former Blackgate inmate who was experimented upon by Wayne Enterprises by this dude named the Philosopher.
Right.
Okay?
And she doesn't like it. She
Nope.
was malformed at birth or something.
Right.
Or
Right.
right. And
She
she
had
says that
she didn't like she had this like little gimpy hand,
right. Right.
and so they she was in prison for something. I can't remember what it was.
I can't either.
And so they experimented upon her to give her a good hand, and she gets a dinosaur claw in return.
But she says that Thomas Wayne treated her nicely and and he said that they were going to try and help her
Right.
with
So
these
she
experiments.
does have respect for Thomas Wayne, and as a result, she has respect for Bruce. As a result,
Right. And she does spill all this information to Bruce that he came to visit her and gave her music boxes and all this other stuff. And so Bruce finds this kinship with her, uh, and only to have it yanked away when uh, Freeze
yeah,
finds them later in the episode and kills her, which is
yeah,
terrible.
yeah, because she's getting transported in this van, and Mr. Freeze is right there, ready for him.
Right. Have
Uh,
been given the suit.
yeah, he's now got his like full Mr. Freeze armored suit.
That's right. Well, except for a helmet.
Well,
And it had a perfect opportunity. Shoot at the head,
exactly.
dudes.
Thank you. Yes, because there's the scene. So Gordon's there protecting her,
Gordon,
supposedly. So he takes shots at her,
Alfred.
keeps shooting her Freeze in the chest.
Right.
It's
He
like
has no helmet on,
no helmet on, no
but
protection.
body armor.
Yeah, so he could easily do a headshot, doesn't do a headshot.
Exactly. Alfred was SAS.
Yep. Nobody can do a headshot, apparently.
And James is a policeman, and they can't shoot for the head.
Yeah.
Why are they not going for a headshot?
Good question.
Right.
We're on network TV. We can't.
Yes, they can.
I know they can.
They've done so many things on
I
Gotham.
know they can. Yeah, well, with the Scott Tenorman thing, they got that
right.
They got that through the standards and practices. I'm pretty sure they could do a headshot.
Right, but they want Mr. Freeze to come back. So
yeah, exactly. You don't want to kill off Mr. Freeze. Come on,
right.
he's like a great villain. So, Karen says, she's basically tries to save everybody. So she runs right out in a full view. Mr. Freeze blasts her, freezes her completely solid, and then shatters her.
Right. And that was his mission.
Right.
Because Hugo didn't want her out in the wild.
Yeah.
He doesn't want any ties to his experiments out.
Yes.
Getting out. So that was essentially Mr. Freeze's task, to kill her. So what happens after he kills her is he just throws this little grenade and then he skedaddles.
Right.
He doesn't do anything else.
It was pretty cool in that sequence because the grenade goes off, everybody's ducking for cover, and
and
everything
then
goes flying.
He's gone.
Yep.
Which is a missed opportunity. I mean, he could have killed all of them, but he doesn't. He's out.
Well, he probably doesn't want to kill any more than he has to.
Right. Well, as we know, he's a sympathetic villain.
Right.
He doesn't really want to kill people.
So he's probably like, well, Hugo Strange only told me to kill this one person, so that's all I'm going to kill.
Right. But I feel like I have to, or I don't get to keep this suit.
Right.
I depend on him
to survive.
Right.
Right. Okay, so B story.
Single-furred female. This is Stabby Babs.
Yeah, Stabby Babs is back.
Yeah.
She confronts Gordon at first, and when the episode starts, tells him, "Oh yeah, by the way, I've been released from Arkham, and I tell the truth now."
Hi.
Yeah, with the crazy eyes going.
Right.
She's got the crazy eyes.
And I still cannot put a bead on her.
Yeah, well, neither can Gordon, turns out. So she tells him that coming out of the coma is like waking up from a nightmare. I'm okay now. Really, really. Gordon's like, forget it. You're gone. You're gone. So she's like, well, I guess I'll have to prove myself to you.
Right.
So she ends up um, following Jim to this club called the Artemis Club.
Right. Artemis being the god of purity and virginity.
Right. But also a warrior, the hunter.
I know, but I think it's funny.
Yes. Yep.
And her Greek, is she Greek? No,
Who?
she's Roman. Her Greek counterpart is Diana.
Yes.
I think that's cool.
The goddess of the hunt. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
And of course, Diana.
Right. Artemis is the Greek name, and then Diana is the Roman name, I believe.
Other way around,
Or is
isn't it?
I'm not sure. Maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay.
And whichever way it is, it doesn't matter. One of them is one.
Artemis just sounds more Greek, like Achilles.
It does kind of. Yeah.
So we'll see. So anyway, but it turns out this club is only for like female supervillains.
Right.
So Stabby Babs, of course, qualifies.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes in to have this chat with the lady,
The mistress.
The mistress.
Yeah.
AKA Missy from Doctor Who, played by
Right.
Michelle Gomez.
I know, and she's great.
She's great for all the little time she gets. I want to get her a full, like, major role in one of these episodes.
She sure makes the most of what time she has.
She does. She's always fun to watch.
Yeah. She and Barbara together.
Yeah, that was a good scene because Barbara lays this whole thing on her that, oh yeah, by the way, I just lied to get out of Arkham. I really want to get into the assassination business.
Mm-hmm.
And I have just the thing to restore your reputation, which has been damaged after last time.
Right.
So Gordon sneaks in, but then Barbara grabs him and puts a knife up to his throat.
Right.
So,
he ends up getting tied to a chair. And
Yep. So we got a little bondage going on with Gordon.
Yeah. And now Gordon, this is confirming all the
exactly. That's like, see, I couldn't trust you. I knew I couldn't trust you.
Right.
Because Babs is acting crazy. She tells the lady that she was looking for who hired the Wayne hit.
Mm-hmm.
And gets her to kind of reveal that the philosopher is the guy's alias.
Right.
So at that point, she goes, see, Jim, I told you I had a plan, and then immediately tases the lady and her hired goons.
And then she skedaddles.
Right. So it's like, see, you could trust me, really.
Right. And they're out in the alleyway again, and she tries to convince him that she's trustworthy. And he says, look, I'm sorry. This is just not going to happen. Thank you, but no.
Exactly.
And it just, I like that he is just not giving her leeway. And that's where it dovetails with the Bruce Wayne storyline. And they end up with Karen in the bank car. And then Mr. Freeze
You mean the police transport?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean.
I got you.
Yeah.
So Johnny Demonic, our C story.
Yeah, this is pretty much just the end of the episode when their reanimation wakes up a little early.
Yeah, throughout the entire episode, they tease this patient 44, which, surprise, turns out to be
Galavan.
Theo Galavan. James Frain is back from the dead, yo.
That's right.
And now he's decided, I want to be Azrael.
Right. Well, I have a couple little theories, and we can share those real quick, I'm guessing.
Yep.
I think he was in a state of suspended animation, and so he wasn't quite where he was set to go.
He was mostly dead as opposed to all dead.
Down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was he was on the river Styx.
Okay.
As it were. And I think he got pulled back into the land of the living, but he brought Azrael with him. And so he's possessed by this demon. That's where they're going with Azrael.
Okay, so
this continuity.
Yeah, so this isn't the Jean-Paul Valley that you're used to from Batman comics.
Right. Well, because they're making him a bad guy.
Well, it's almost like, I mean, this is before that happens. So he could just be the first Azrael.
Right.
And this Azrael's a villain.
Right.
because this is all tied to the Order of Saint Duma,
Right.
which Galavan belongs to.
Right.
So, which is the order
So they could actually
that
name
has
the
Azrael.
brainwashed. They could just name the brainwashed one after
Right.
this
Like-
character.
Yeah. I said, okay, we have a new Azrael, and he's a good guy this time.
Right.
Right.
Well, he isn't a good guy at first. They brainwash John whatever, right? They brainwash
Jean-Paul
him.
Valley, yeah.
Right. They brainwash him into being an assassin,
But then Batman wins him over.
but then Batman.
and then he fills in for Batman when Bruce's back is broken by Bane.
Right. Exactly.
That's a lot of B's in that sentence.
So you're thinking he gets named after this Azrael like a legend.
Maybe. Or maybe there are several Azraels throughout history.
Okay.
So we'll find out.
But yeah, I'm guessing he's just some sort of demon that got pulled through.
Well, Azrael traditionally is the Redeemer.
Right.
So this just might be this special, like, okay, this special chosen one of our order.
Mm-hmm.
And Galavan, I guess, is taking on that role.
He's the lucky one.
Yeah, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else?
No, not that I remember.
Okay, what's your rating?
8 bent pizza boxes.
Yeah, that was
when Harvey sees
that was a great scene.
Barb's in the hallway.
That was actually almost my rating, and then you stole it from me.
Oh, sorry.
So I changed it. That's okay. You didn't know. So I went up with 8 raptor claw hands.
Yeah.
Which, of course, like I said, was a reference to B.D. Wong.
Yeah.
Who's the guy who creates dinosaurs in Jurassic Park movies.
That's right.
In Jurassic World.
He modifies the DNA to create the eggs.
The dino DNA.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So Lucifer, Team Lucifer's next, right?
Hashtag Team Lucifer.
I know.
Yep. So written by S.H.I.E.L.D. Modrovich, directed by Greg Beeman. A, B, and C, Karen?
Hail Hydra, Hail Lucifer. You came up with these.
Yes.
B story, forget chocolate cake. Give me cold hard cash.
Really?
I like that one.
I like that one.
C story, got the picture, even got the frame.
Which, as I told Karen, was a Twin Peaks reference. I slipped in there.
Very nice. I like it.
As I'm wearing my Twin Peaks Archer shirt.
I love it.
Cooper instead of Archer. So, yeah.
I would get that shirt. I feel like I shouldn't have it because I didn't watch Twin Peaks. I don't deserve to get that cool shirt.
You need to rectify that.
I have Obey on though today.
Yeah, that's true. You've got the Hypnotoad.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Yeah. All glory to the Hypnotoad.
Right. You have to obey. I can't see it. So. You must obey. See where the eyes are?
Right. Yeah. I'm not going near that one. No. Okay, so
Hypnotoad's eyes are down here.
So Hail Lucifer. Okay.
Team Lucifer. Hail Hydra or Hail Lucifer. Yeah. He doesn't like people worshiping him.
No, because the whole main mystery this week, the mystery of the week, the murder of the week, is this Satanist sacrifice. Which turns out, we open up with a sacrifice, but it turns out to be just this like freaky sex game.
Right.
That this couple does, and then all of a sudden it turns into an actual murder
Mm-hmm.
when he turns around and stabs her in the chest.
Right. Not so good.
Not so good. So Chloe recruits Lucifer for help, even though he's been avoiding her since that little discussion about vulnerability.
Right. It's kind of his thing, though.
Right.
Because they are worshiping him.
Yeah, because it turns out the woman's body has Hail Lucifer carved into her back.
Right.
Ouch.
So it's hard for her not to go and recruit him.
Yep.
She kind of has to at this point.
So they go to meet the victim's father at her apartment, where they find this hidden stairwell and room full of Satanist memorabilia, as you tend to have.
Sure, of course, laying around.
Yeah, exactly. So this woman, I guess she was into body modification.
Yep, they all are.
In this group, yeah. So she had these subdermal implants that turned out to be letters.
Yep, and they spell out.
Basically, Chloe and Dan can't figure out what the letters stand for.
Of course, because it's Latin.
So Lucifer is like, "Here, idiots," and it means children of the goat. It's a Latin phrase for children of the goat.
Right.
So they go to that leads them to this local meeting of this group, and
I love the leader.
yes, because so this meeting turns out to be a memorial service for their murdered friend, and it's
Hmm.
completely lame.
Right. It's
And,
terrible.
and it
The guy's
drives
been
Lucifer
wearing a horse's
crazy.
head or a goat's head.
Goat's head, yeah, because children
Yeah.
of the goat.
Right.
So Lucifer, it drives him crazy
Yeah.
to see these nerds
Right.
like using his name.
Right. And he walks out and he starts railing at them. And
Yeah,
of course they all get riled up. He's the best Lucifer we've ever had.
yeah, they're like fanboying over him
Right.
and fangirling, I should say.
Right. There's a couple girls, but
Yeah,
mostly it's guys.
right.
And he ends
Total
up
sausage fest. No,
they end up taking the leader aside.
right.
And I love the leader because he's in character until they get him aside, and then he's like, "I
Yeah,
hate this place. I want to
yeah.
go."
Lucifer gives the old whammy on him,
Right.
gets him to admit that I want to get out of this group. It
Mhm.
sucks. And he tells Lucifer that and Chloe that the girl's boyfriend had her join the group, and then they find out that there's this knife that matched the wounds that's now missing.
Right. The one they use normally
Right.
goes into the handle is a fake one,
Right.
but there's a real one that matches it, and it is gone.
Yeah.
And apparently, that's the one that killed her. So they just have to track that down.
Which they do,
Right.
and it's all worked out.
Well,
Sort of.
sort of.
Sort of. Yeah.
There's all kinds of other things that happen, though.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah. There is. There's a few other things.
yeah,
So,
there's
so let's. Do you want to get into that, or
well,
with our? Because that's basically our C story.
right. Well, they track it down,
Yeah.
and the kid is actually been crucified
Right.
in a warehouse. And when they look for clues, they find all these boxes. And when you stand in a certain place, it says Morning Star.
Yeah. It's all written in red paint.
Right. And then they also find a
That's important.
right. They find a what do you call it? I don't wear them. So what do you call those little things on your
Cufflinks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
They find a cufflink that looks like an M for Morningstar, but it's not. It's a W.
It's a W. Yeah.
Right.
And that turns out to be this local reverend.
And he was in the pilot episode.
Was he? Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He's the crazy guy
He
on the
was the
street.
street preacher.
Street preacher. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That was scared, witless
'Cause
by Lucifer.
Yeah. It kept confronting him.
Right. And Lucifer showed him the devil face. And so now he knows that Lucifer is the real devil, and he's always railing against him. And the real killer, which we'll get to in a second, knows this.
Yes.
And has set him up. So he takes the guy's cufflink and plants it there.
Right.
And then he puts Morningstar on everything, and he's hoping that it will lead to this preacher, which it does. And they assume it's this guy, and they go to get him. Now, Malcolm.
Yes. Shady Malcolm.
He's all up in Lucifer's face. He's Team Lucifer, quote unquote.
But he shows up, and Lucifer notices that he has red paint on his hands.
Right.
And so, which means, oh, guess what? He's the one who did this.
Actually did it, right. And he's proud.
Yeah, he's trying
to. He's doing the Lord's work as it is.
Well, I think he's doing Lucifer's work. He's like,
well, yeah, the Lord of Hell, as it were.
Right.
Yeah. And he's happy. He admits to it, and he says, "Hey, I
thought you would like it."
Right.
Yeah.
And I set up this guy who's been yelling at you. Don't you like that I got rid of him for you?
Yeah, Lucifer's not happy about it.
No, he's not.
But Malcolm's like, dude, I've got this coin you gave me, remember?
Mm-hmm. You can't do anything.
You can't do anything. But Lucifer tells him, well, he'll bring hell to him, not the other way around.
Right. Which he can do.
But that, of course, ends up getting interrupted by none other than Amenadiel, who is all pissed off because earlier in the episode,
Maze
ends up trying to assassinate Amenadiel on Lucifer's orders.
With the little demon hooks,
Exactly.
right?
Little demon daggers.
Yep.
And but she hesitates.
Yep.
And that, of course, gives Amenadiel time to notice what's going on, and which, of course, ends their relationship.
And they had just had a heart-to-heart in
Right.
this nice filmy white bed,
Yep.
talking about
They were all snuggly and cozy. And
talking about how their relationship shouldn't have happened, but how it ended up meaning something to both of them. And I think it was a real talk that they had, but she felt like she didn't have a choice.
So now Amenadiel's all pissed off, bringing back to where we were. And so he's all hurt. Lucifer thinks that Amenadiel turned Chloe against him.
Right.
And
he keeps looking to see why.
So they throw down in this big brawl.
Right.
And then Mazikeen shows up.
With the daggers.
And she says, "Look, idiots.
Right.
I'm the one who's getting taken advantage of here." And which kind of ends the fight.
Right. And she gives them the daggers.
Yep.
And says, "Look, if you want to kill each other, go for it. Here you go."
Right.
And he thinks that Amenadiel has sent Chloe to kill him because she's an angel. And this is where the forget chocolate cake cold hard cash comes in.
Right.
She keeps grilling Trixie.
Yeah.
She goes to take a shower. Chloe goes to take a shower, and he grills Trixie on, does she have any scars, like on her back or anything?
And Trixie's just like, "Well, give me some cash here, and I'll tell you."
Right.
So the kid has moved up her game. She stepped her game up.
She knows what's good for her.
She's like, "Forget the cake. I can get anything I want with money."
That's right. She can get
so
10
give me money. Give me money.
And she says, no, her mother has a scar on her.
Yeah, it turns out to be like a wound from a chihuahua bite.
Right. And he tells Chloe to lift her shirt up.
Which she does.
To check, right? And she doesn't have scars on her back.
So she's not an angel.
Right.
So you can rule that theory out.
And I still think she's got some sort of...
I think she's the product of a union.
Right. Of a union between two things.
Yep.
I think she's a sylph or something. I don't know what.
Something like that. So that happened. And then we end the episode with Chloe going to Lux. Lucifer's there regretting his decision to leave hell.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that Chloe finds the Reverend dead.
Right.
On the ground, shot in the head. So I guess they can shoot on the head.
That's right.
The police just happened to be there who arrived with Chloe, and they put Lucifer under arrest.
Right. And he knows that he has to go in because Chloe can actually kill him.
Right.
By shooting him.
Right.
And of course, it's Malcolm that did this and set him up.
So basically, yeah, exactly. So it's all a big setup.
Mm-hmm. And we're left with that cliffhanger for next week.
Yep. Dun, dun, dun.
So what did you give it?
I thought this was a good episode.
Me too.
I gave it 8.5 subdermal implants.
I gave it the same, 8.5 peeved fallen angels. He was very peeved through most of this episode.
Yes, he was.
I thought it was really, really good. It moved a lot of things along. And I like the callback to the pilot.
Right. Well, it kind of makes it like one whole huge story.
Mm-hmm.
As when they do that. So, yeah.
I like it very much.
Excuse me. Okay, let's move on to the Flash. I'm throwing you a curve, Karen. So I want to talk about the Flash.
I can see them both on the same page.
Versus Zoom. Written by Joe Paracchio and David Cobb. Directed by Stefan Plazinski.
Okay.
It's a lot of consonants.
Bless you.
You're welcome. That's the sinuses talking.
Okay.
Welcome, Key. All right. So I hate you, allergies. I hate you so much.
I know, me too.
All right. So
A story.
Yes.
Blue Hunter, Black Heart.
Right.
B story, Vibing an Identity Crisis.
Right.
C story, Wally Giveth and Hunter Taketh Away. And we have a bonus, Really, Iris?
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So A story, Blue Hunter, Black Heart, I'm guessing is all about Zoom.
It is.
We start off with a flashback to young Hunter Zolomon, who...
Wow.
Yeah. So we watch as his father gives him this helmet from the war and then turns around and murders his mother
In front of him,
in
ouch.
front of him. So which ends up sending Hunter to this local orphanage.
Earth 2 is a very cold place.
It is.
And
Now,
they're very blunt.
on a side note, Mark Waid, Flash writer Mark Waid, was a little pissed off about this.
Was he?
Yeah, because he thought that because they thought that Jay Garrick being a murderer or abusive husband or whatever, that was just completely against the character from DC Comics.
Yeah.
So he did this big whole Twitter rant about it.
Oh.
And because it's Mark Waid, he loves his Twitter rants. So the producers, I guess, tweeted him back and saying, look, you just might want to wait and see how this plays out first.
Oh.
So he had to backpedal about that and just like, oh, I guess I'll wait then.
Yeah.
So don't fret too much that Jay Garrick is a jerk in this Earth 2 universe.
Yeah.
So.
Well, all I have to say is that this isn't about the jerkiness and all that, but when they took the kid to the orphanage, I was thinking, God, what a horrible place. He takes the kid and says right in front of the kid,
yep,
that here he is. His name is Hunter Zolomon. His father killed his mother and he saw it all. And then the woman says, no family? He goes, no, none that want to take him. And he says it all right in front of the kid, just like that, flat, no emotion.
Cold, yeah.
And I'm thinking, what is wrong with Earth 2?
Seriously.
It's a horrible, horrible place.
My theory with Earth 2 is I think it's actually Earth 3.
I don't think it's Earth 2 either. I think Kara's Earth is Earth 2.
I think there was writer Grant Morrison did this Justice League of America graphic novel called Earth 2, which essentially established that Earth 2 was like the evil opposite. It was like the mirror universe on Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So
the darkest timeline.
Which was originally Earth 3. Yeah, exactly. Right. The darkest timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Where you had this evil version of the Justice League called the Crime Syndicate.
Right.
So right. I think they're working this premise that this Earth 2 is the darkest timeline. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the one on the dice.
Yeah, where the bad guys essentially are owning all the good guys.
Okay.
So.
And maybe Jay is from Earth 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The real Earth 2.
Right.
The one we like to see him from.
Right.
Which would open up a whole new great season 3.
It certainly would.
Yeah, it would. Okay, so we get some background on Hunter. Barry is still trying to use that tachyon enhancer to make his way home to increase his speed. I'm sorry. And so he goes into a breach, he vanishes, and immediately reappears. And this is where I'm thinking the Supergirl crossover happened.
Mm-hmm. It is with the chest thing.
Because remember, he was wearing that tachyon device when he arrived in Supergirl.
Right.
So he comes back, he's like traveling 4 times as fast as he was before.
Right.
And then he asks Wells to hey, can you make this smaller because it's kind of bulky and doesn't work with my
I like how they dealt with that too. He said, this is kind of big, can we fix it?
Yeah.
And
Wells kind of shoots him a look.
But then he goes, if it's a problem, yes.
Yeah.
And he just does it.
Right. Now
he's ready to do it.
Now that kind of made me wonder if Wells is actually really Thawne again.
No, he's Wells.
Okay.
He is.
Because I would think he'd be kind of insulted, like, hey, you just ripped on my
design. He was
a
little insulted, I think.
Yeah.
But he was enough Wells that I'm okay with it. They have enough to deal with this season. They're not going to make him.
That's true. All right. So Barry decides to open the breach back to Earth 2, and he believes Cisco's powers are the way to open the portals.
Which is brilliant, I think,
Yeah.
because we know that his counterpart on the other Earth could do that.
Right. And then Wells gives a little background on how the particle accelerator explosion on his Earth created Zoom, the adult Hunter Zolomon,
I love these
who
flashbacks.
turned out to be a convicted serial killer who was receiving electroconvulsive therapy, i.e., electroshock,
Right.
during the explosion. Electroconvulsive is just the cute little safe, PC way of saying electroshock,
Right.
which just call it electroshock. We know what you're talking about. Stop sugarcoating it. So yeah, this again, the Flash is doing flashbacks better. The flashbacks, yeah, okay. So
and he looked like
better.
Will Forte on The Last Man on Earth.
Did he? Oh yeah,
When they showed the picture.
You're right, he did. You're right, he did. So so let's go into our B story, Vibing an Identity Crisis, where we have, as we mentioned, Cisco opening that breach, and he's kind of like he puts on the vibe goggles. And he's kind of getting a little bit of control over his power. So
but he gets freaked out.
He does, because remember, he's still kind of freaked out because of Reverb, the Earth 2 Cisco.
He doesn't want to turn into Reverb.
Exactly. So he's really petrified of that.
And do you think he's getting, and pardon my French, but do you think he's getting a vibe on what's happening through that portal a little bit? Do you think he's getting a feel for what's happening on the other side?
Kind of. But I think it's just more his insecurity.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
So you think it's just him not knowing what he's going to turn into when
unless they reveal more about it, I'm going to go with that it's just his insecurity.
Okay. I just wondered if he had feelings about what's happening on the other end of his portal.
I'm not entirely sold on it.
Okay.
So so yeah, he's basically kind of torn about the person he's becoming.
Okay.
All right. So our C story, Wally giveth and Hunter taketh away.
Yeah. I was sad about this, except for the fact that this leaves. Okay. Joe is clueless when it comes to Wally. And Barry enlightens him on the fact that Wally's hanging around in order for Joe to ask him to live with them. And Joe lays it down and he says, yeah, please move in with us. I'm not going to do your laundry. I'm not going to do everything, but feel free to move in. I'm good with that. And Wally has been kind of wanting this, but he doesn't want to ask. And so, yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was kind of cool that Barry kind of says, Joe, look, dude, he just wants to move in.
Right.
It's obvious.
He facilitates it, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
But it was uncool when Hunter decides he's going to kidnap him.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is where we have Zoom kidnapping Wally because he's trying to force Barry's hand here. And he's like, okay, give me your speed or I'm going to kill Wally.
Right.
He's my hostage. So like, now meanwhile, he already has a hostage that he could use as a bargaining chip.
Right.
But it's like, well, they probably don't care about him being on Earth 2, so we're just going to take someone close to you.
Right. Now he finally does get the speed.
Right.
And he releases Wally.
Right.
Because Caitlin pleads with him, if you cared about me at all, you would let him go. So now Barry doesn't have the speed force in him.
Yeah, so yeah, well, this is before he did that though. Hunter explained that the Jay he killed was this time remnant from an abandoned timeline.
Right.
And then Barry confronts him and like, okay, so who's the man in the iron mask? And Zoom is just like, well, dude, you wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Right.
Which it's going to be Jay Garrick.
Right. Of course.
Has to be. If it's not, I will be surprised.
Right.
But
Or it could be his father from Earth 2.
Yeah, that could be too. So Zoom gets distracted when Caitlin calls him a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And which, of course, is this exact same thing Hunter's mother called his father just before he killed her.
Right.
So a nice little interesting parallel
Right.
going on. So yeah, Barry gets on that cosmic treadmill once again to fill up the speed siphon or whatever they're calling that thing. It drains the speed force out of him. And then Wells hands it over to Zoom, who injects himself. And he's about to kill Barry, Zoom is, when Caitlin begs him to stop, as you talked about.
Right.
And then he does, but then he kidnaps Caitlin before he leaves.
And he runs off.
Because he's a dick.
King Kong. Because
Yeah.
King Kong.
Yeah. Well, there is a King Kong thing going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Iris tries to go on her date with her editor or whatever, and couldn't do it. Realizes she has feelings for Barry,
Yep.
And has a chat.
So now we're back to,
it.
Instead of Barry being hung up on Iris, it's now Iris being hung up on Barry.
Right. But I don't think it's going to take a huge push for Barry to go out with her. It's not like he's seeing someone.
That's true. Now that his slate is clean now that Patty's out of the picture.
Right. So if Iris just does anything, if Iris leans against him,
I hope it happens because I just want them to get it over with.
Yeah.
Just like we know they're destined to be together. Don't screw us around like they did on Arrow.
Right.
Just get them together. Focus on other stuff.
Right.
They can be a happy couple. You don't have to add CW angst.
Right.
To every episode.
We can just continue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't need the back and forth like.
Okay, she's waking up. She understands they're destined to be together. Yep. Do it already.
Right. We don't need the back and forth like Ray and Kendra on Legends of Tomorrow.
Exactly. Oh my God, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get to that. Okay, so anything else?
Mm-mm.
The bonus or anything? Or...
That was Iris.
Oh, that's right. You're right. It was Iris. Okay, so rating.
Oh, and I do have to say that this kind of opens a door to Wally getting the Speed Force as well.
Right, because
now he knows about the Speed Force, kind of.
And hey, we do have this like Velocity 9 lying around.
Exactly. So.
Yep.
At least he's in on the gig. So.
I still think at the season finale we're going to see a bunch of speedsters.
I think so too. We'll see
Jesse Quick. We'll see
Jesse Quick,
Wally West,
and
Jay Garrick.
I think they'll be
real Jay Garrick.
Well, do you think that perhaps? Okay, now one of the storylines after Wally dies,
right?
He ends up actually finding out that he can just move in and out of the Speed Force.
Yeah.
Right?
Terminal velocity.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you think that's going to happen, that the Speed Force just allows them all to move in and out without any kind of catastrophic?
No, you always have to have a catalyst.
Okay.
Now with Jesse Quick, it's that speed formula.
Right.
But
do you think something will happen when they're all together?
Wally will have a catalyst somehow. I think he'll either get injected with Barry's speed or he'll get that Velocity 9 injection or something.
Okay.
Or maybe something like cross-dimensional, something happens. But yeah, there will be a catalyst.
All right.
That's we'll see if I'm right, but yeah.
All right, I give it 8.5 cardboard cutouts.
Okay.
Because that's how they tricked Zoom into slowing down.
Now the whole thing where Barry gives up his speed willingly, that just frustrated me. So
I know, me too.
It drove me crazy. Especially it's like, well, let's trust the guy that just went ahead and kidnapped Wally at a heartbeat. He won't hurt anybody else.
Right.
So you might as well have my speed.
Right. Here you go.
Here you go.
After you went to all this trouble to save another Earth.
And I guess, after all this trouble to get faster speed, become faster so that I could take you down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know.
It's dumb.
It is.
I'm like, you're kidding me with this. All right. So yeah, I downgraded to 8 electroshock chairs.
Good.
Okay,
It was still a good episode.
it was a still good episode.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Sure.
The Team, written by DJ Doyle, directed by Elodie Keene
Mm-hmm.
or Elodie Keene.
Elodie.
Might be Elodie, like
Okay.
like Melody.
Like Melody, but without the M.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be.
A story.
A story.
Inhumans Assemble.
Nice.
V story. 2 teams for the price of 1.
Two.
C story. They feel the bass move under their feet.
I know what that refers to.
All right.
All right, so Inhumans Assemble is a reference to the Secret Warriors.
Correct.
Um,
And Daisy going to get them all.
Daisy's little squad that she's been compiling together. So basically, Daisy and Lincoln, they hop in the Quinjet or whatever, and they send out the signal on everybody's signal watches. Their Jimmy Olsen signal watches, or excuse me,
Bleep, 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 bleep.
James Olsen signal watches.
James, don't call me Jimmy.
Yeah,
Olsen.
yeah. So Joey and Yo-Yo's signal watches go off, and they abandon their plans, waiting for pickup. And there's kind of a humorous scene where Joey, who's gay, I guess he had just asked this dude up to his apartment,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the signal watch goes off, and he has to bail.
Right.
So which is not at all awkward during a date.
Oops.
Don't.
Yeah.
So
they were hot, both of them. I would have liked to see a little further into that date.
well, I'm sure there's slash fic about it already.
I'm okay with that.
You could track that down. But so yeah. Oh yeah. Karen's just sitting there in front of the TV going, "Oh yeah."
Ask him up. Ask him up to the apartment. Sorry.
You got a little drool on the side of your corner of your lip there. Okay. All right. So they now that they got the group assembled, they infiltrate this Hydra base to free their S.H.I.E.L.D. team,
right.
And Joey Gutierrez kills this guy named Lucio, while Lincoln,
the guy with the round shades with the Lennon glasses.
Right, yeah. So it's essentially like, yeah, the Gorgon guy.
Right.
Who can paralyze people and stuff. So so Lincoln captures Malik, and then they take him back to their base. Malik explains to Coulson that the Hive can infect the minds of Inhumans, and warns him against trusting any of the Secret Warriors.
Right.
So,
and we already had kind of a vibe that one of them had been turned, right?
But see, I thought the Hive could just take over anybody.
I thought so too.
But apparently not.
Apparently not. But well, he does, but he takes them into himself.
Oh, he like consumes them and absorbs them. So
right.
So if you're a normal person, he consumes them and absorbs their memories.
And if you're an Inhuman,
you get taken over.
Right. You get this like parasite in your brain.
Okay.
It's like a black parasite that goes
right, yeah, because they end up doing
down your hippocampus.
Simmons does this little like autopsy on the Gorgon guy, Lucio. And yeah, so she kind of peels back and that was kind of cool to see. Pulled back the old skull cap, and it's all like looks like got all moldy inside there.
That's right. Well, his hippocampus was black.
Yeah, it was all black, and so
right, which means it was taken over by whatever
or he ate a crap load of Oreos, and you know how that black dye from Oreos,
right? It gets on everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, or just
ends up. If it was Cheetos, it would be that weird orange color.
Yeah.
That gets on everything.
Yeah.
It really does. That's why I don't eat them.
But
so
anyways, so
she doesn't have a test for it or a cure for it. So they have to try and figure out who it is. And they end up Coulson tells Daisy.
Right.
And then they kind of end up cornering them and telling them all. And then None of them trust each other.
No.
And they all get into a room together and they're like squaring off against each other.
Yeah, that's
So they don't know who it is.
yeah. It's basically like it's that little paranoia.
Right.
Like, okay, who can I trust?
Right.
And
And Daisy kind of draws them into a room.
right, there's like one of those containment units,
Right.
and then Coulson suspects Lincoln's been infected
Well, they
because
find that.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they found they start searching and like like everybody's little locker rooms or lockers, and they find that the Creed this Creed device in Lincoln's possession rather than in lockup.
Right.
So it's like, oh, everything's pointing to Lincoln.
Yeah.
So
Well,
so Coulson calls him on it, and is, that he said, well, we think you're infected because we found that inhuman artifact in your
in your
stuff.
locker. Right.
Yeah. So and then he thinks that Lincoln was turned back in Transia. So
Mhm.
that leads a fight breaks out. Daisy uses her powers to knock Lincoln out. Interestingly enough.
Right.
So after he wakes up and he's in the slammer, he's like, "Dude, I'm innocent. I'm not the guy taking over, honest." But nobody's buying it. The other three are released. And then Daisy happens to show up later on that night, offers to break him out.
We can run away together.
Exactly. Lincoln's like, no, I'm not really buying this. And I'm thinking that maybe you're the one who's actually controlled. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not under control. I'm free. I've never felt better in my whole life.
Yep.
She goes on this whole thing.
And then we get the flashback of seeing Daisy murdering Malik, framing Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
So
and also getting taken over by Hive. We see that little flashback too.
Yep. So everybody's getting framed this week on this.
Yep.
But so yeah, she ends up getting Daisy ends up getting the Inhuman artifact and the Terrigen crystals from the inventory. Causes a massive earthquake, and this is kind of where we get into our C story.
That's right.
Where
that was a cool scene.
It
where
was.
She walks through the base and she's just pointing her hands down at the ground, and
Yep.
as she's walking, it's just
the entire
chaos.
Yeah, the entire headquarters is having an earthquake practically.
Yep.
So Coulson tries to get into the hangar. Daisy's destroyed the door mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
The ceiling falls in on him as she leaves. Dun dun dun.
Right.
Cliffhanger.
That's right. And in the meantime,
Yep.
We got Lincoln locked up.
Right.
Who now they're probably guessing he's not responsible,
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yep. So
Coulson's trying to get into the thing, and the Quinjet's already getting destroyed.
Dogs and cats getting together. Mass hysteria.
Talking about dogs and cats living together,
Yep.
we have Fitzsimmons.
Right. Oh yeah.
All over the couch, big time.
Yeah. So if you're a Fitzsimmons shipper, you were loving this episode.
Yeah. Well, Fitz says maybe we're going too fast, and Simmons is like, it's been years. I think we're good.
Yeah. It's like, we've wasted way too much time already. Let's get it on.
Right. And then an earthquake interrupts it. I mean, how many signs?
Well, they always have to twist the knife.
I know, it's terrible.
In this relationship. So yeah.
The first time they get dropped into the ocean, the second time a black obelisk engulfs her, the third time an earthquake.
Fitz and Simmons' relationship is Lucy with the football.
Right?
They tee it up. Charlie Brown's ready to kick that football, but then Lucy just yanks it right out. And the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just yank that relationship right out from under you.
Exactly.
And, like, you get your hopes up, and they just pull it away right there. And you're like, arg! And you fall on your back, and
Yep. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's not a good thing. It looks like the whole base is crumbling.
Yep. And we get that little teaser for next week. Gaira tells the Hive that they're ready to leave, but the Hive's like, dude, I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm. They get all of Malik's money.
Yeah, so
I forgot
he
about
says
that.
they need to go find Daisy now.
Yep.
And Gaia tells Hive they've got nearly $1 billion
$1 billion.
from I heard that, I just laughed, from Malik's assets, and Hive's like, well, maybe we ought to figure out how to spend it.
That's right.
So spending spree, woo!
Woohoo!
Yep.
Looks like he can wear a new cape.
Yeah.
All
right.
So ratings.
Rating.
I give it 8 shaky ceilings.
Nice. I give it 8.5 out of 10 Jimmy Olsen signal watches.
Very nice.
Jimmy, don't call me James, or no, James, don't call me Jimmy.
James, don't call me Jimmy.
Yep. Okay, our last two.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Last Refuge, written by Chris Fedek and Matthew Mala, directed
Chris
by
Fedek, really?
Yep.
Of Chuck fame.
Yep.
He's one of the creators of Chuck.
He's kind of one of the I think he's a showrunner, or at least one of them on the right, like one of the head writers of this series. He's written several episodes.
Awesome.
So directed by Rachel Talalay, who is not a name probably right off that you would know right offhand. She directed Tank Girl, but she also directed the Doctor Who episodes Dark Water / Death in Heaven and Heaven Sent / Hellbent, which were like the last two season finales on Doctor Who with Peter Capaldi's era. And she also recently directed the episode of The Flash Fastlane.
Okay, good.
Which we hated, but
yeah, well,
this one's a little better.
No, this one was good.
Yeah, this one's good. And interestingly enough, I'm on the Doctor Who kick because, you know, it's me and Doctor Who. This actress named Celia Imrie, who plays Mary Xavier.
The woman who runs the house?
Yeah, basically Rip Hunter's mom.
Uh-huh.
Who was also from Doctor Who. But
yes.
But Celia Imrie, the actress, was in the Doctor Who episode The Bells of St. John.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, yeah. So, lots of Doctor Who meta here.
I knew I recognized her from somewhere.
Yep. Even more than usual for Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, what's our A, B, and C? Sorry, I had to get in.
A story. No, that's cool. And they just named the new companion.
Yep. So, yes.
Okay, so A story is she has a particular set of skills.
She has a particular set of skills.
That's right. B story, Rip Hunter's Home for Peculiar Children.
Nice. Very nice.
And C story is Return Engagement.
Yep. So she has a particular set of skills, which is referring, I'm guessing, to the Pilgrim.
Well, yeah, Pilgrim, whatever.
Right,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, so we open up the episode with the Time Master sentencing this time pirate to death.
Right.
And so we kind of established that the Pilgrim's dangerous.
Right.
Erases people from history. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then we cut to Central City in the year 1990, which I thought was amusing because that's the year the Flash TV series came out.
Interesting.
I thought so, right?
Right.
So I'm sure that was deliberate. That was the John Wesley
Snip. Yeah.
Ship series, yeah. So I'm sure that's why they chose that year. So Rip and his team pose as firefighters to protect a young Mick Rory from being killed by the Pilgrim. The younger Rory watches his house burning down the house. We should have done that one.
No.
Okay.
The one we're doing this week is
better. Yeah.
Poignant.
Yeah, you're right. So Pilgrim sneaks up, but the Atom, who's all like micro-sized, grows suddenly in front of Rory, blasts Pilgrim, and he gets to be all geeky by telling Rory, the younger Rory, come with me if you want to live.
I know, it's so stupid.
But that's Ray. He's a geek, so he's
so stupid.
So he does the Terminator reset.
Yeah, but that movie has come out already, right? In 1990?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
he's actually just reciting a line.
Oh, actually, no. Oh, not the first. Yeah, the first one's already been out, but the second one hasn't been out.
So doesn't he say it in the first one?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because it kind of flips around.
Right. Come with me if you
originally it's Reese who says it to Sarah Connor.
Right.
In the first movie, and then the second movie.
Okay. Second movie.
It's Arnold.
Right.
Who says it to
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah.
Right, Sarah.
Yep. And she can't believe it.
And Sarah doesn't trust him because
it's a term.
He looks like the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. All she knew was when he was a bad guy. All right. So, um,
And now we're the geeks.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. Okay.
remember,
So
we, we're
they
doing
save.
we're doing a podcast about comic book shows on television.
I know they already know we're geeks.
It's given.
So okay. Let me boil it down a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
Um, Gideon tells them, and in turn tells us,
yeah.
that there are only a few points in which the pilgrim can hit them and kill them that will make sense.
That doesn't affect the timeline supposedly.
Right.
Yeah,
So they go to these times and they kidnap their younger selves.
right,
And that's Mick Rory when he burns down the house.
right,
So apparently that means that he could have been assumed to be in the house.
right.
Okay, and then
But what about all their future stuff? That doesn't that affect the timeline too? That drove me crazy.
yeah,
I don't get it.
hand wave, hand
I
wave.
know, I know. Okay.
Sarah when she's in the precinct,
Yes. Yeah, as a kid, like a
handcuffed,
teenager, she's in the police station.
right?
And that's where
Learning a lesson from her dad.
we get a little cameo by old Quentin, Paul
Yep.
Blackwood,
Paul Blackthorne.
with a nice wig
And it was a halfway decent one, by the way.
because it
Not
wasn't from Arrow.
That's right. It was from
Legends wigs are better than Arrow wigs,
They
apparently.
do better with their makeup, yes. So they take her, and they're about the same age, Mick Rory and Sarah, which is
Right.
a nice little
Foreshadowing.
yeah, exactly. And they end up in a room together, which is just trouble.
Right.
They're fighting and all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
He ends up with matches for some reason. I don't know how he gets matches, but Mick's yelling at him for getting matches.
He's a pyromaniac. He's going to find a way to get matches.
Exactly. And then they go to the hospital where Jax is being born.
Right. And then Jax's dad.
Yeah.
That's a great little story because
it is.
Because Jax never got to see his dad because his
Right.
dad goes off he's in the military, goes off to Iraq, ends up getting killed by an IED.
Right.
And so he never met his dad.
Right. He thinks his dad wasn't even at the hospital.
Right, but he finds out that yes, guess what? His dad was there.
Right. And then immediately went off to war.
Right.
That he delayed his flight in order to be there to see his baby.
So later on, Jax gets to talk to his dad, actually warns him.
Yeah, but he takes the amnesia pill, so I'm assuming
right.
he doesn't do anything. Which is sad. I mean,
right.
Yeah. So anyway, they take him as a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And when do they take Professor, what's his name?
Oh, Professor Stein?
Yeah.
I forget when they got him. Oh, well, I'm not sure. I don't think we got to see where they got Professor Stein.
I don't think so either, but they take him.
Yeah. Maybe as a baby, too. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember, but they take him. And
they got Captain Cole as a baby, and it was kind of funny. There was a funny scene where Hawkgirl and Sarah are cooing over cute little Captain Cold as a baby.
Yeah, it was very sweet. So they end up with all of the younger versions. They don't have to take Kendra.
Right.
They don't have to take her because she reincarnates.
Right.
And they don't have to take, who's the other one they don't have to take?
Well, Rip, because he's from the...
Rip. Are they the only two?
Well, yeah. I think so. All right, let's just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have to take those two because there would be no reason to take them.
So they go to this place called Rip takes everybody to this place called the Refuge, which we find out
Rip Hunter's Home for Peculiar Children.
Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of going to our B story.
Yeah.
So it's the Time Master Orphanage where he grew up. They're greeted by Rip's adopted mother.
Right.
Which IMDb explained as Mary Xavier, although they didn't name her in the show.
Right.
And
they take these kids who are wayward.
Right.
And they don't really belong anywhere. And they put them in this home and they keep them away from society in order to give them like a blank slate.
Right.
in order to become Time
Time
Master.
Masters. Yeah, so it's almost like a little like recruiting
Mm-hmm.
thing. So
Ender's Game.
yeah, and we find out the team learns that Rip's real name is Michael,
Mm-hmm.
which is a nice little nod to Michael John Carter,
That's right.
who was his father in the comics. So I'm guessing Rip's real name is Michael John Carter Jr.
I'm guessing.
I'm guessing that too. And I'm guessing that Booster Gold we will be seeing in the season,
I'm
even though they said, "Oh,
guessing.
we're not gonna see Booster Gold in the season
Mm-hmm.
finale." It's gonna be Booster Gold.
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised if it's not Booster Gold,
Yeah.
especially since the guy they cast for the role,
Patrick Adams.
Patrick Adams, looks like Booster Gold.
Booster Gold. Yeah. He does from Suits. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be very surprised. All right, so so they well, now that the team's kind of dumped off the kids and they go to the Pilgrim ends up kidnapping Jefferson's father, threatening to kill
Right.
him and everyone else's loved ones unless they give themselves up.
Right.
Now, Rip makes a deal with her to give up his younger self before he became a Time Master and started the whole chain of events.
Right. So that everything would be erased.
Right. So it's not their fault. It's you get me,
Right.
you get to solve the whole problem.
Right.
The Pilgrim's
And
like,
their lives would go back to normal.
right. Yeah.
Uh,
Everything resets.
right.
Yeah. So the Pilgrim's like, okay, that sounds good.
Sure.
So they set a trap for her, of course. The Pilgrim's able to freeze the powers and weapons of the team as they attack, but then she fails to notice Rip's younger self, who stabs her.
Right. Because he's a little thief.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yeah, I guess you're just a kid. I'm not worried
Right.
about you. And then stab.
And they didn't set it up, but Rip realizes that he was a little rapscallion as a kid and
Yep.
figures that he'd end up doing that.
Like an Artful Dodger type.
Right. He says he was a cut purse,
Yes.
which is
Artful Dodger.
a little thief, yes.
Yeah. So while she's distracted by that knife wound, they're able to destroy her. They basically, and there was a kind of a cool sequence where they get all Matrixy, bullet time,
Mhm.
and she
that.
kind of traps herself. Now the only real way out of that was to go through Sarah.
Right.
Who, all she had was a staff. I don't know why she didn't just walk out.
I know. I don't know either.
That made no sense to me because
No.
it's like everybody's firing projectile weapons at you, but
Mhm.
Sarah just has a staff. Go through Sarah. You're fine.
I know.
All right.
She's an idiot.
Yeah.
She's not used to having that much opposition, I think. She got cocky.
Apparently not. Yeah. So
she ends up getting stabbed and whoops, they all converge and she's gone.
So back at the orphanage, Rip's mother promises him that the team will still be safe. While Roy tells his younger self that his family's death wasn't his fault.
Right.
The rest of the team gives the loved ones amnesia pills we talked about. Stein's wife doesn't recognize him because he technically doesn't exist until they return Baby Stein. It was Baby Stein.
Okay.
Back to his proper place and time. And then Jax warns his dad to be careful for IEDs.
Yeah, but still, they take the pills, so.
Yep. And that probably leads to our C story.
Return engagement.
Where Kendra agrees to marry Ray, but she's not really thrilled about it.
Right. She's not sure.
And Ray overhears this.
Yep.
So more back and forth ping pong relationship.
Right. But she does end up wearing the ring at the end. They have a little heart to heart, and she says, you know what? I'm not going to listen to her. She tells him the whole story about who she met in the Old West, that it was her.
Right.
And that she's supposedly fated to destruction every time she falls in love with someone other than her loved one, and all this other
yada
crap.
yada. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
All that.
So we end with Rip warning the team that they're now on a deadline. So they need to strike at Savage, the one place in time where they know he'll be 2166 at the height of his powers.
Right. Which he didn't want to do because
right. But of course he was going to do it. Yeah.
Right. They have to now.
We have to have this big threat. Or, it has to be impossible odds to overcome.
Of course.
To take out Vandal Savage.
Right.
All right, what was your rating?
8 amnesia pills. I really liked this episode.
Yeah, I gave it 8. I did too. I liked 8.5 out of 10 engagement rings.
Very nice.
So, Love the fact that we're getting more with Rip Hunter and
Yeah.
setting up the whole Booster Gold
I
stuff.
love the backstory. I
Yep.
love it.
Yep.
And then
And then
Daredevil.
Daredevil, last one.
Semper Fidelis.
Semper Fidelis, which
Hoorah!
yep, which if you're not familiar with Marine terminology, means always faithful.
That's right.
So, written by Luke Calto, directed by Ken Girardi. And what's our A, B, and C?
Foggy clears it up.
Right.
Sweet or spicy.
Karen or Electra. Yeah, I got it.
And then plot hole.
That plot hole was so big, you could put Fort Ross into it.
You could drive Fort Ross through it. That's right. You certainly could.
You liked that one, didn't you?
I do. I liked it a lot.
Right.
You could put Fort Ross in this plot hole.
This hole was so big. How big was it? Yeah, it's so big you put Fort Ross into it. All right. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I was ready with it right on time.
So Foggy clears it up. All right, it's going down now with the Frank
Well, they're still scrambling at the beginning of this episode because Frank pled not guilty.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so after he kind of like threw the curveball with the not guilty plea, Matt wants to cite post-traumatic stress disorder as his defense. So Karen goes to the Punisher to kind of, tell him that this is what they're going with. Punisher wants to drop that defense because he doesn't like it. It says it's an insult to people actually going through it.
But he is going through it, so.
But he doesn't see it.
He's in denial, yeah.
So he says, instead, okay, why don't you find this colonel as our character witness? So, right. Okay. So, Matt ends up being late to make his opening statement at Castle's trial, and a reluctant Foggy is forced to take over.
Right. And this is mostly because he did a job with Elektra the night before, and he ends up kind of sleeping in a bit.
Yeah.
They get in a scuffle, and she gets hurt quite badly.
Right.
And he ends up tending to her, and he gets dinged up a bit.
Yeah. So basically, Matt's getting all wrapped up in Elektra's drama, which is screwing up his relationship with Foggy and his relationship with Karen.
Right.
But
Foggy does a kick-ass job with the opening statement.
He just didn't need confidence because he's always relied on Matt.
Exactly.
It's like, well, guess what? You're just as good of a lawyer, if not better.
After a bit of a stutter start.
Right. He got it. He found his groove and he got into it. So,
and then they called the medical examiner.
Right.
Because Karen had found those x-rays.
Right.
And the medical examiner wants to get things off his chest.
Yeah, he's all nervous. Matt listens to his accelerated heartbeat. Emmy wants to get something on the record, so the judge clears the courtroom. Emmy confesses to altering case files in Frank's report. Turns out someone threatened the medical examiner.
And,
I wonder who. Some woman who broke into his house last night forced him to confess.
With kind of a European accent.
Yep.
Whoops, who could that be?
Who could that be? It's crazy. So the judge ends up striking the doctor's testimony and continues the trial.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elektra.
Uh-huh. She thinks she was doing them a favor.
Nope.
Not so much.
Quite the opposite. Matt's not happy about it.
Matt is so not happy about it.
So that kind of leads us to the sweet or spicy.
Yeah, Karen comes over and they're going to talk about the case, but they're also going to have dinner together. And it was a really nice night.
Yep.
Until they have kind of a little argument over some morality issues.
Right.
He starts the conversation turning south by kind of hinting that she would make a good lawyer, and she says no, she doesn't like it because there are a lot of gray areas, and she's not into gray areas. And they have this debate over it, and things turn a little south, and he kind of rushes her out the door, and I didn't know why until he turns and looks, and kind of in a direction. And I know I say looks, but you know what I mean. He kind of looks in directions.
Right.
And Elektra, he says, "How long have you been listening?" And Elektra's up on the balcony. And he's rushed her out, obviously, Karen. Yeah. He's rushed Karen out because he knows Elektra's there, and he doesn't feel like
explaining,
living his life out in front of Elektra.
Right.
So Elektra comes down, and he is very, very upset. And he spells it out for her. Karen means something to me. Don't belittle that.
Right.
And Elektra is taken aback, definitely, by that. And she says sorry. She backs off once she realizes, okay, I get it. I get it. She means something.
But then she keeps dragging him into.
Yeah. She keeps dragging him into stuff. But I could see that one point where she
Right.
does say, okay, I get it.
Yep.
She is sorry for a second. And then again,
Yeah.
she keeps dragging him into it. And they talk about Roxanne again, and they have to go out. Matt is so angry.
Right.
That he has to go out again with her. They take on all these people, and he just is furious.
Yeah, he just totally unloads on these Yakuza guys.
Yeah, there's a scaffolding fight, which is awesome.
Right.
And then a fight inside the building, which again is awesome. And it's cool because they end up shooting a bunch of, I don't know what they were, bags of like fertilizer or something.
Yeah.
Stacked bags of fertilizer. And it was cool because every time they would shoot, they would miss the people and they would end up hitting the bags of fertilizer. And so you'd see these little puffs.
Right.
Time they would hit them. And so you saw where they were shooting and they would use them to leap up and everything. It was a very nicely choreographed fight, I thought.
Yeah.
So good fight. And of course, they end up at the end of the episode looking down into this.
Yeah, there's like an abandoned warehouse. And, this is after like Daredevil has concluded the Yakuza were hiding something. He hears something, finds this massive hole in the ground.
Huge hole.
And they're not sure. They want to see Matt wants to see how deep this hole goes. So he takes this flashlight, drops it, and waits and waits and waits for it to hit. Keeps waiting. Still not there. And then finally, like, it just never, you don't hear where
it is big.
Deep. It is deep.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So now the question is, what's that hole for?
What's it for?
And what's going to come out of that hole?
Right.
Guess we'll just have to wait until the Defenders to find out.
Exactly.
Because remember, all this is based on this nice specific location that the Kingpin was working with Madame Gao and the
right.
And the yep. So
yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yep.
I haven't watched the head.
It's all setting up for the Defenders, I think.
I know.
All right.
So what do you give it?
Rating. Enjoyed this quite a lot, especially the fights, of course. 9 out of 10 dropped flashlights.
Yep. And I give it 8 opening statements.
So
I would have gone maybe I should give it 8.5. I liked it. I like the fight scenes.
Yeah, I was a little more generous with you on this one, I guess.
Yeah. I think I'll give it 8.5 instead of 9. Okay. I mean, instead of 8.
All right. So do we have any Justina feedback?
We do. It's something I should read.
Yeah, we need to apologize for Justina.
Yeah, we never did get the audio feedback in last week's episode.
Yeah, we tried to get it on there, edited on there, but
never made it in.
Never made it in. So apologies to Justina.
Yeah, but I'll read this one now. She says, "Hi, Karen and Charles. Supergirl wins the week for me. 10 red vine licorice.
Ooh.
They really know how to do a cliffhanger, not sad or stressful. That episode was positive and exciting. I have no theories on what's in the pod. Do you guys have thoughts on that?" Yeah, we shared those. Crypto.
Please be crypto.
And I think Superboy, but who knows? So glad they didn't leave floating in space for the summer. I think Barry can get his Speed Force back with the tachyon device. Ooh, that's an interesting theory.
Yep.
Is there some instances when he loses his Speed Force in the comic? Yes, many.
Right.
I think Barry can still be a hero without a superpower too. Being super is not all about powers. Oh, isn't that sweet?
It is sweet.
Yeah. Legends gets 8. 2 Sarahs are better than 1. Why is it perfect time to go after Vandal Savage? I do not know why Sarah did not tell her younger self to avoid getting on that boat. Sarah would not want to miss the chance to meet Nyssa. Have a super week, Justina.
Yep. And thank you, Justina, for that.
Yeah.
So
that was a very uplifting comment. Being super is not all about powers.
Words of wisdom from Justina.
It is. It's very nice.
Very profound.
Yes. So
All right.
if you want to get in touch with us, like Justina does, you can email us at fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
Right.
You can hit our Facebook page at facebook.com/fandomzonepodcast. And we have had quite a few likes since we
Yeah,
hit
we
Google
have.
Play
I think we're
Music.
up to like 77 now. So
Very nice.
ever since we hit the Google Play Music for all you crazy kids on the Google Play Music,
That's right.
um,
That's
that
nice.
yeah, so we've gotten a few more. So all you new listeners,
Welcome.
welcome, and we definitely appreciate you. Thank you for checking out our podcast, and please tell your friends about us.
That's right.
We'd like to get that up to 100.
Definitely.
So,
And thank you because I also am an Android user.
yep,
So hurrah for Androids is what I
exactly.
say.
So yeah, I also have an Android phone, so this is nice for me as well. So,
Very nice.
all
Yes.
right.
This here, all of this stuff,
What is this for?
this is all on an Android. So just so you guys know.
Little ominous end there, but yeah,
Oh, I'm
little
sorry.
sting. There we go. Oh yeah.
And our Twitter is on @FandomZoneCast.
We got to do the porn music every time we do this. I like this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Should I?
Yeah, you should.
You can reach us on Facebook at facebook.com
Exactly.
/FandomZonecast.
So yeah, we're on the Twitch
Stop it.
machine. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's kind of awesome. I love that.
I don't want to get fans like that.
Okay, good point. All right, maybe not. Maybe
Anyway.
maybe a bad idea. All right.
Our Twitter is FandomZonecast. You can reach me at Aleveria, ALEVERIA, and my blog link is in my bio, and there you can find all my other links.
Me, of course, I'm on @CharlesSkaggs on the Twitter machine and the Instagram. Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus.
Very nice.
And Facebook, of course, my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot, where I talk about all of these shows and more, including the new Doctor Who companion.
Yay!
So you just check us out there, and I think that about does it.
You should nominate Jesse's podcast,
Right.
Set Lusting Bruce,
for there's like a best music podcast category.
Right. Go to his
Yep.
Facebook page,
Yep.
Set Lusting Bruce, please, and check it out. There's details there.
And hey, if you want to nominate the Phantom Zone podcast for something,
you can if you want, but we have to pay if we get nominated.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. We're cheapskates. We're cheapskates, but if somebody wants to, hey.
Sure, if you want to front us $100.
You want to slip us some. Yeah. We'll do it. We'll do a Kickstarter for that. All right. So all right, I think that about does it. Now, sadly, we did have a serious loss to the music industry this week. If you're a music fan, you probably know what we're going to talk about right now. But so we're going to send everything off with a nice little tribute to a great performer. And we'll see you guys.
Magnetic performer.
Yep.
And he just happened to do a song for a superhero movie. Blah, blah.
Easy for you to say.
He just happened to do a song for a superhero movie, so we took a little snippet from that, and we're going to play it as a tribute at the end of the episode.
And we'll see you next week, guys.
We will.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Jackie, let me stick the 7-inch in the computer.
Nice. No, wow.